Every now and then when playing games, you encounter that one particular game you think to yourself, what if this was an MMO? As you begin to then imagine all the possibilities that came to mind. Hello everyone, I hope you have been surviving the global shut-in. I am Ines, a detective who focuses on video games and the mysteries within. Well, more specifically, I spend the majority of my time talking about the multiplayer online games, and of course, the massive variant. Animal Crossing New Horizons only just launched in March 2020, and yet it has had global influence and coverage. In just a week, the game sold 3.8 million copies on the Nintendo Switch in Japan. Worldwide, the game is projected to have sold over 13 million digital copies, setting a digital sales record in the process. This might not seem nearly as significant as it really is, but just look at every other title on the list, all of which have had more recognizable IPs and franchises and feature combat as a focus in some way. Meanwhile, here's Animal Crossing New Horizons, this wholesome social activity of a game uniting people and friends nationally or even globally. Animal Crossing New Horizons came at the perfect time, when people were restricted to their homes and had time to buy and play the game. What about the game specifically is so special? I won't spend so much time explaining the details of the game, as I'm sure there's plenty of videos that do that already, but I will provide a general overview to illustrate my point and speculate on what Animal Crossing New Horizons would look like as an MMO. The Animal Crossing series is quite old, originating with their first release on April 14th, 2001 in Japan before eventually launching in the West, as it did for every other Animal Crossing title minus New Horizons, which was a global release. Animal Crossing by the same creator of famed N64 series Star Fox, Katsuya Uguchi. Who better to explain the design of Animal Crossing briefly than the owner himself in his own words? Animal Crossing features three themes: family, friendship, and community. But the reason I wanted to investigate them was a result of being so lonely when I arrived in Kyoto. Chiba is east of Tokyo, and quite a distance from Kyoto. And when I moved there, I left my family and friends behind. In doing so, I realized that being close to them, being able to spend time with them, talk to them, play with them was such a great important thing. I wondered for a long time if there would be a way to recreate that feeling. And that was the impetus behind the original Animal Crossing. Uguchi would then go on to state, another thing that is that I'd always get home really late, and my family plays games and would sometimes be playing when I got home, and I thought to myself, they're playing games, and I'm playing games, but we're not really doing it together. It'd be nice to have a play experience where even though we're not playing at the same time, we're still sharing things together. So this was something that the kids could play after school and I could play when I got home at night, and I could kind of be a part of what they were doing while I wasn't around, and at the same time they got to see things I've been doing. It was kind of a desire to create a space where my family and I could interact more, even if we weren't playing together. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this sounds exactly like the origin story for many of the MMORPGs who came to power in the late 90s and early 2000s. Uguchi's desires to unite the three themes of family, friendship, and community are key aspects of any MMORPG, especially that last pillar of community. Creating a world in which you can socialize with your friends and make new ones in a new environment with new customizable player characters that you created yourself. Animal Crossing in 2001 compared to 2020 is still remarkably the same core design. Animal Crossing had an open-ended approach to social simulation. You played as a resident introduced to the town which you customized yourself. After being introduced to the town and its NPC inhabitants, you or your three co-op buddies set out to complete a range of optional short and long-term tasks and participate in activities such as fishing, farming, building, crafting, and more. Whereas other life/social simulation games such as Harvest Moon, which was also on Nintendo, or the more recent successful adaptation Stardew Valley focused more on the hard work of balancing work and socialization, aka work and play, Animal Crossing was more casual and about the experiences you created and shared with your friends or your family. Animal Crossing's world was different than the typical social simulator. Not only did it have a calendar that tracked the passage of time, this calendar actually was based on an in-real-life calendar. This meant on special days like holidays, events, and festivals, Animal Crossing would feature something related like that in their game. For example, the popular fishing tournament featured in Animal Crossing was only available on key select dates that are made publicly available. These simple ideas and gameplay made to support the ever-changing calendar of days is genius. It allows you to have a tie-in for future content, as well as experiment with different and fun ideas. It's also one step closer to simulating real life. And although Animal Crossing as a franchise is fictional animal characters in a fictional world, the systems and concepts it is built on are integral lessons for many people young or old to learn. How to socialize and make friends, which is arguably one of the most important skills in life, how to give, how to find and have fun activities, and finally, it gave people a place to call home, even if it was a small virtual town ran by a tanuki. Fast forward from 2001 to 2020 and we have the latest and most successful launch in Animal Crossing franchise history, New Horizons. New Horizons has given Nintendo, well, New Horizons. It has the same core design of the previous titles, with better gameplay, performance, and graphics to boot. A group of my friends who I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with all bought Animal Crossing and made their own Discord for organizing trades, visits, and fun. That's a group of people who basically strangle practice each other for fun, finding great value and fun in doing something as casual and social as Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is a game like for my girlfriend and our group of friends that is a pleasant place away from all the craziness of life. A place away from all of the insanity that is the worldwide pandemic. Animal Crossing New Horizons on its own right is an absolutely impressive game. But naturally my brain wondered and I thought, what if Animal Crossing New Horizons was an MMO? What if it had everything it has now but at a larger, bigger scale? What would that even look like or entail? Before I get into explaining why or how Animal Crossing New Horizons would look like as an MMO, let me explain what an MMO is as quickly and as sufficiently as I can. Massive multiplayer online RPGs or role-playing games, or MMORPG, MMO for short, is a genre that rose to power only in the last 25 years or so. In 1979, Roy Trubshaw and Richard A. Bartle created the first multi-user dungeon, or MUD. These were early forms of online role-playing games that were text-based with minimal or no graphics. The games that are often titled MMORPGs, such as Meridian 59 in 96, Ultima Online in 97, followed by another pioneer that would lead way to one of the biggest blockbuster hits ever, WoW, EverQuest 1 in 1999. Massively multiplayer online games are always online games that consist of massive amounts of players creating their own characters and socializing/interacting with each other. The very nature of an MMO is built on the idea of a group of players uniting together, whether in parties or guilds, to complete a range of different types of content together. Despite being a video game, MMOs, unlike many other genres of games, focused primarily on socialization as a core mechanic. If you've ever imagined being in another world watching The Matrix or playing an RPG, then the concept of an MMORPG is probably familiar to you. But there's one part of the acronym that gets a little bit murky on its meaning. And it's the first letter, actually. Massive. Massive is a bit confusing because it never was properly defined. When Asheron's Call in 1999 launched, they stated that their measure of what was considered massive for the time was 200 players. They were able to eclipse well above that number. If Asheron's Call breaking 200 players back in '99 was considered massive, I think it's safe to say, or at least make an argument, that a couple of hundred players back during that time were considered massive as a whole. In 2020, however, the term massive has been watered down a bit, but largely technology has only increased the concept of what massive is, essentially. What used to just be a couple of 100 players, now some MMOs are capable of having thousands of players at the same time. A game or a genre dedicated to helping connect people from across the globe to socialize and play together to complete group activities. Now, am I describing the MMO genre or Animal Crossing New Horizons? It wouldn't be as much of a stretch to take Animal Crossing New Horizons and make it an MMO design or artistically speaking. For the sake of the video, we will pretend it's not difficult to increase the player cap, which we unfortunately ultimately don't know how difficult it would be for such a game like Animal Crossing New Horizons. Social avatar style MMOs are still around, but they were very common, especially in the early 2000s. With Habbo Hotel launching in 2000, The Sims Online launching in 2002, and Second Life launching in 2003, these three virtual worlds' main focuses being much the same tenets that Animal Crossing lead developer Iguchi stressed as the focus of the title. The one in particular most resembling Nintendo's game, however, was none other than the one that I spent the most time playing as a kid, and was essentially my first virtual world ever, Habbo Hotel by Sulig. Animal Crossing's New Horizon is a game about customizing your character's wardrobe and participating in a number of fun activities. Animal Crossing featured a phone which allowed you to track achievements and message friends, and then set up meetings in order to go visit your friends' islands. The islands, of course, were customizable bits of land that each player was granted. Habbo Hotel featured all of this back in 2000. Instead of islands, they were rooms, where the rooms in Habbo Hotel were unique in comparison to the islands in Animal Crossing, where they were able to be set private or public depending on the permissions of the room. So in theory, you could join a random room that had rules and descriptions, such as a room where maybe people went to race for furniture, which was the game's main economy, or perhaps a guild-themed room where everyone roleplayed being mafia members. There were also these big public areas where you could meet and play with, and then socialize with even more players. Unfortunately though, the pool was pretty much always closed. Animal Crossing New Horizons has such similar features, it wouldn't be much of a shift for them to offer the same aforementioned features, such as the public and private system shown in Habbo Hotel. Players would be able to choose to make their islands public or private and choose how to customize and utilize the space to their own choosing. Animal Crossing already has an economy and a progression system which helps fuel people finding enjoyment and continuing to customize their characters and islands. In the Animal Crossing MMO, there would be public farms, parks, and places to visit and meet and engage with other players online. With the sheer amount of player content created and the increased scale of islands, the game surely would have plenty to do in between special events and seasons. Because the game doesn't focus on combat, large player performance wouldn't be that big of an issue. Whether you want to play with your close friends only like in the current game, you could do that. Or you could choose to make new friends or meet new players. The Animal Crossing MMO in that respect wouldn't skip a beat. Due to Animal Crossing's already extensive special event system, built-in progression and achievement tracking, and the amount of player-made content, it wouldn't need the same amount of updates a typical MMO would. This would help its longevity, decrease workload needed, and give players more things to do. Due to the kind of game that Animal Crossing is, it ultimately could be played offline, local co-op, online co-op, or even as we're now exploring, massively online. That's why I thought Animal Crossing New Horizons was a great first pick for this mini-series. It's one that I found difficult to find a lot of negative from if it did indeed go massive. The one negative thing that it could get from going massive, I guess, would be the loss of effectiveness or the overall need for the NPCs in the game, and the content that these NPCs create. Now, I'm sure this could be rectified in some magical, theoretical way, I'm sure, but it's worth mentioning at least. Animal Crossing New Horizons is a gem of a game, and it isn't an MMO. But if it was, thanks for watching, guys.